Hey everyone, what's up? This is the Everyday Bow Hunter, and I'm your host, Mike Manley. This week, Dan and I sit down with Andy Musser. Andy is a cancer survivor and bow hunter. He used bow hunting to help him recover, used the therapeutic properties of being in the woods and going through the motions of hunting to really help him build on his life and use that and other methods to get himself on track. Andy talks about all the stuff he's doing now, the bows he's using, what made him get into saddle hunting, and how he's hunting private and public land, and some great stories from him and Dan about what they've done and what we plan on doing in the future. So stay tuned, get ready, and let's dive into this podcast. Let's go. Welcome to the Everyday Bow Hunter. I'm your host, Mike Manley, retired Green Beret turned bow hunter, joined by my brother Dan Zemer. We're here to share tips, stories, and talk gear, all from our unique points of view. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned bow hunter, I think you're going to like it. So let's go. Hey everyone, this is Mike, and this is episode 5 of the podcast. I said it last week, Dan, but I feel like beating a dead horse saying, I can't believe it's episode 5. It's crazy that we're that far along. I'm real looking forward to the time when we could do these every week. Last week 2 weeks ago was a great podcast. We did a bunch of preseason questions. I really got a great response, especially on YouTube. Really kicked out. I was real happy with that. Since then, what have you dived into as far as prepping for the season?
Oh, not a whole lot, to be honest. I did shoot a little bit, got all my clothes together, getting ready to do the laundry aspect of it. That's about it. Right now, we're prepping, me and the wife. We start tomorrow, head up to Lebanon for the dog show, and that's going to run through Sunday. So it's that season and kind of takes precedence right now. But I'm looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully we get enough points to get her championship title and go from there, man. It's getting exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
As you know, maybe Andy doesn't know. I don't know. I was in the Outer Banks last week. Didn't really do a lot except for the week prior. Did a bunch of cleaning up and getting some of my gear together. As far as scouting concerned, when I was on my trip, my one cell camera that literally is almost at the top of the mountain had not showed me a deer. I got bear on there. I got raccoons. I got all kinds of crap. Had one doe, I think the first week I had it up, but months of rarely seeing a deer hinted on there. All of a sudden, I got these rackers in there that look like they're really carrying some headgear. I sent you guys the pictures earlier.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Yeah. Now I'm like evaluating where are they coming from? Where are they bedding? Trying to do all that analysis and thinking, man, I gotta get in there and scout around here before we get too close to the season.
Yeah, I mean, they're up high too, which, yeah,
I mean, that camera's probably, I don't know, 100 yards from the top of the mountain, if that.
Yeah.
So,
well,
which is
hey,
cool.
I'd like to introduce Andy here. This is Andy Musser, a very close personal friend of mine. He is a local business owner in our area. He is an avid hunter, avid fisherman. And if I'm right, Andy, you just took on a leadership role in Leader of Man, Iron Council?
Order of Man?
Order of Man. What did I say?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Leader
got
of
it.
Man.
You are kind of a leader of man.
Leader of man. Yes.
You are a leader of the men.
Close enough.
Yeah,
Close
no.
enough.
So, am I right? You took a leadership role?
Yeah.
Or in the process of?
Yeah. So if some of your readers may or may not be familiar with the podcast called The Order of Man, it's run by Ryan Mickler, who is he's kind of a leading guy in the world of masculinity and leadership. And within Order of Man, he has a men's group called the Iron Council. So it's basically a big network of other like-minded men looking to accomplish their goals, looking to level up in all areas of life, particularly like with masculinity, with leading their families. Protect, provide, preside is kind of their saying. And within the Iron Council, there are teams. So there's battle teams. There's upwards of 15 guys per battle team. So basically you got a group of 15 guys, upwards of 15 guys. And it's really just like a daily check-in accountability thing. It's a great place for guys to go to. I say, like, for me, it was huge for stress relief. And yeah, it's been great for me because, when you're in your own business, when you're the boss, when you're a leader of your family, you've got to carry yourself a certain way, right? I'm sure you guys are aware of that.
Yeah.
Whether, it's a team at work or a team at home, or maybe even in the military. I'm sure Mike can speak to this, but, you carry a certain weight around with that, and being able to take that armor off and just be vulnerable and transparent and ask for accountability and own up to life's mistakes and all that, it's a great place for all that guys to just kind of get together and talk and accomplish their goals together. So,
Well, that's very
Yeah.
cool.
yeah.
I was a little leery, and then I got to go on a trip with Andy, Mike. I got to go to Gettysburg, and one of the guys from Order of Men was a guide, and we walked through the whole thing. It was spectacular. It was a great day. Halfway through, I ended up with massive blisters on the bottom of my feet. One of the guys was like, "Hey man, take your shoes off. Let me see this." Got me all wrapped up, ready to go, finish the trip. I'm telling you, like, nobody had an ego there.
All you did was went on a walk around Gettysburg and Dan was a casualty.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
it's
One of a couple million, maybe.
it totally opened my eyes in a very, very, very positive light of what they're doing, what
Yeah.
they're about. And
Mhm.
I really appreciated the camaraderie of the guys. And like I said, no ego. Everybody was there for each other. And that was
Yeah.
a great thing.
Yeah, it's funny
great.
too, because I know this is a hunting podcast and we want to talk about hunting stuff. It's funny. What the point I wanted to say is, whenever I start talking about this group, guys get a little uncomfortable because we always put up a front, maybe put up a shield, and we don't want to. It's not normal for guys, for buddies that have been buddies for a long time. You go out to the bar, you have a couple of beers, blah blah blah. You're not talking about personal stuff, right? There's a lot of like old school taught stuff from maybe our fathers and grandfathers where, we don't talk about our things, or we don't talk about our goals, or we don't do this and that. And, some guys get a little uncomfortable with that, but once they actually experience it, they realize that it's totally the complete opposite of what they think it might be. And that once you're there, everybody's kind of like, hey, we all make mistakes. We're all human. Let's get down to the root of this thing and figure out a better path forward, So, a lot of it has to do with building a vision of your future, and then building your battle plan around that with, small achievable goals and little wins every day, because they stack up. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
making yourself vulnerable. I had, some battles with PTSD, and I went through some counseling and stuff. And that was the hardest thing for me, is opening up, because that
Yeah.
was not what you did. You did not
Yep.
do that. You did not let anybody see your vulnerability. So it was very, very tough for me, but it
Yeah.
definitely helps. And a lot of guys, it takes them a long time, especially when you're young and you're beating your chest and saying, "Oh, screw that. I would never do that." And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're 50 years old and you're saying, you
Yeah.
know, so
I think you
Yeah.
kind of hit a good note there, Andy. It was the vulnerability thing, and holding each other accountable is the biggest thing, because a lot of people don't have that friend, that buddy, or a group like you that holds each other accountable. I mean, I get lazy, I slack, and my wife will call me out, and I love that, and she holds me accountable, and I have to do that with her too, and that's a great thing. But having that group, that I think that speaks volumes of the kind of person that you are, is to open yourself up to that and allow, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, as like with my background and what I've been through, really in the past decade has been pretty crazy. And to get through what I got through without that group was pretty amazing. But also realized that, thinking that, life was going to get easier after I got past cancer. It did not get easier. It got harder. And, I added 2 more children to my plate. My business expanded. You name it. Life keeps hammering, right? Life doesn't care, about your past or what's going on currently. Life will just happen.
Yeah. So speaking of the cancer, you and I remember it. I was there. You got a hell of a story, and I would love for you to share with everybody, you know, your story.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so basically what I was kind of referring to in my last rambling there was I was diagnosed with colon cancer when I was 34. So we are just about 9 years cancer free now. So pretty awesome win right there, I'd
Absolutely.
say.
Hell,
Through that, obviously, there was a lot of scares. Originally, I was misdiagnosed with stage 4, and as you know, stage 4, there's pretty much a 5% chance of living beyond 5 years.
Yeah.
I was basically told I had maybe 2.5 to live. Thankfully, I didn't have to live with that too long because we had gotten a biopsy and kind of something didn't sound right with my other doctor. So eventually, we got a biopsy and we proved that doctor wrong. But with that, as you know, a lot of damage could come from that. So,
Yeah.
a week prior, we had found out that my girlfriend, my wife now, Erica, and I were about to have a baby. And then a week later, I found out, I could be dead in 2 years. So the weight of, knowing that, I was literally having my first child and I would be leaving my wife with this and her at the time 12-year-old, my 12-year-old stepdaughter, Madison, was just, God, it was heart wrenching. It was gut twisting. It was a very difficult time, but at
Dark,
the same
dark.
time, at the same time, I was 34 and I had so much to live for, and those few days after my misdiagnosis, I had really, literally, like I say, I had my moment with God. I realized that, I had a whole life ahead of me, and just kind of like what we do in the Iron Council with creating a vision. At the time, I didn't really understand it, but I did create a vision of where I wanted to be. I wanted to walk my daughter down the aisle. I wanted to go bow hunting in Montana for bull elk. I wanted to do all these things, and that's really what kind of fueled my recovery, my fight. And, one of the things that obviously gave me a good release was hunting. I was thinking about this earlier, how I got into archery because I'm a late onset archer. I grew up rifle hunting, Pennsylvania backwoods,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perry
That's all.
Town, Orange Army, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was just,
Oh, yeah.
it was just a day or 2 days. And you just went in and you pulled the trigger and hopefully you got a spike or something, right?
Yeah.
So, was fine and dandy at the time, but I still remember the day I took my dad and of all things, a crossbow, out into our newly acquired cabin land, which is on 65 acres. And he said, man, I saw a nice 8-point in this tree stand. Why don't you go back there and sit? I was like, oh, sure. Not even thinking of the whole dynamic behind archery. Like, hey, you got to practice, right? And hey, this is a crossbow and there's a scope and there's there's marking with elevation. Like, no clue.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, here comes two doe and a pretty nice 8-point. And I thankfully shot underneath that deer. Crossbow and fired it like a rifle, like all I knew. And, in the heat of the moment, you know how it gets, guys. And man, was I pissed at myself for that. And I remember telling Dan about it and he's like, man, we got to get you into a bow.
Yeah.
And, but so I didn't get into a bow until 2016. So, 2015, I went through chemo. I did go up, I hunted, and it really gave me that solitude and a way to break out of just everything going on in my life.
Mhm.
I one of the things I made sure I told my oncologist was, look, I don't know. I did chemo every 2 weeks. And I said, look, I got to go deer hunting this year. I was like, I'm not letting it stop me. So I'm skipping that week or whatever. He was fine with that, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you might have some cold sensitivity. Yeah, I had some cold sensitivity, but I toughed it out. Didn't see shit that year, which was fine. But to me, the whole experience just meant everything for me. And it kind of gave me a whole new appreciation for hunting in general. I saw what it did for me on a healing level, on a level that I had not quite ever thought about before because I was too ignorant and really closed off to that part of my life, which probably led to disease in my body partially. But, it was really the start of something amazing. And it's just been a hell of a ride ever since. That's for sure.
So when from diagnosis to cancer free, I how long? What was the time frame?
You know what? I think it was around 2016 when I was finally given the clean bill of health because there were some complications and some stuff that was showing up in scans and weird markers on blood work that had him a little worried that might be something else. So, it's just time and tests. And, I wanted to get that, cancer free, something that I had literally envisioned in my head. But, as you know, life don't work that way, right? So
Right.
I had to go through a little bit more pain and suffering. But in that process is literally, Dan, when I started picking your brain and you started saying, man, you got to get into a bow. And I was like, you're right.
You're calling me you're my archery sensei.
Yeah. Hey, you were my bow sensei.
Yeah.
And I remember still, it was a Craigslist ad. And
I remember going to the Walmart. Went to Walmart and met that dude in the parking lot. I drew it back for you and everything. I was like, yeah, this will work, dude.
Like, I had no friggin' and dude was like 6'2". I mean, he's different arm length, all kinds of shit. And I was just like,
oh, draw length all messed up.
Yeah. So, but Dan got me hooked up. He's like, go here, go there, do this, do that. We met at Columbia
Fish and Game
Gun Club there.
Yeah.
Started shooting, and he was just kind of like, keep it simple, focus on one thing, and move on to the next once you think you have that dialed down. And it was on then because what I had experienced, and also, which was like a whole new world of hunting in PA, was the early season heading into Halloween week, last week in October, and then boom, early November, which is like, damn, I never saw anything like this in the Pennsylvania woods. I'm out here freezing my ass off in December or after Thanksgiving.
That's the thrill of archery, and people just that are gun hunters don't realize how exciting that whole time frame is.
I mean, start to finish, early season until the end of the first season, you literally are watching it from jungle phase all the way to the leaves change till they're dropping off. You are in the woods in the most beautiful time of the year. The temperatures are dropping. It's getting so comfortable. Archery season is just pure freaking magic. And that's all there is. I mean, there's not a whole lot more you could say, it's pure magic.
Yeah.
Yep. So what bow are you shooting now?
Yeah.
Did you have something else, Dan? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I started off with Bowtech. So I had the Invasion, and then the next bow I ended up getting was a bow of Dan's, another Bowtech. What was that bow? Because I think I pulled it back 20 times before it exploded on me.
Oh, man.
So they gave you a bum bow.
Yeah, he gave me the one with the carbon limbs.
Yeah.
That they were having issues with.
No, that was the fiber limbs, and they put the replacement carbon limbs on it. It was the BTX 31.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was shooting like a dream. I mean, we had very similar draw lengths, and it was shooting great, and then literally the limb just went on me. Thankfully, that's, it didn't cause any damage to me.
Yeah.
But we got that.
I felt like a complete ass, dude. I sold you a bow, and then
it worked out, right? Because, hey, we ended up doing a warranty on it, but the warranty wasn't going to be done in time for archery season. So it was bow week basically at Kinsey's, and I was like Bonanza or whatever in August. I'm looking at this. I go straight for the Hoyts and the Matthews, and I'm pulling back a Hoyt, and I'm just like, eh. And then I'm pulling back a Matthews, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I ended up going with the Triax that year. I think the Triax was the year prior. I forget what they called that model that came out after the Triax, but loved the Triax. Went with the shorty model, that 32, and just moved my, the sight over and was rocking. So yeah. And I've been, it's been a dang good bow for me ever since. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I was telling Dan, you said about Bonanza in August, the YouTube channel, the number one video I have right now that's just blowing the others away is draw length calculator, if you can believe that.
Yeah. Well, I remember
the
hearing
people
about
prepping their bows, and then on the
Yeah.
website it's the arrow weight calculator.
Yeah.
So everybody's getting their racing to get their stuff together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you and Mike have a similarity here, but I would like to juxtaposition the differences between you and him when it comes to saddle hunting. So,
Well, first thing is though, so what were you doing before, and what
Yeah.
pushed you into saddle hunting?
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So like I'm definitely I come from I would say, I grew up doing public. I got into archery season late, but by that time we had acquired a 65-acre cabin in Bedford County, Pennsylvania, so 2C. And not only that, we have 19 acres here in Lancaster County where my dad lives. It's a meadow between ag. So I got spoiled and got comfortable. Sorry, the wind just picked up here. It's a little wild. But I got spoiled, with this land to hunt. And so I was very much acquire as many tree stands as possible, private land setup. So, I went from the big heavy ones, permanent, quote unquote, permanent stands to, getting a lone wolf, alpha 2, something a little lighter, like kind of dabbling with moving around and getting a little more aggressive, and then eventually came the Helio by Novix. And then I think honestly, it really wasn't until I went up hunting with you guys. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago and hunted Juniata, where I was like, and the other thing was I had started to become obsessed with the hunting public guys, and seeing how they do it.
We all are. Yeah.
We all are.
Yeah. And I just loved the idea, not only of just hunting public, but just being more mobile. And honestly, the saddle hunting thing was not something I wanted to get into right away, because I was like, let's go as late as I can with my little hang-ons, But I noticed, like, as I did them more, I was like, man, this is a pain in the freaking ass. Like, even a little stand like this can still be a bitch to set up and
Oh, it
Yeah.
is.
slinging and banging
Yeah.
and, doing
Yep.
your thing. And just like the world of saddle hunting was very intimidating to me, because I'm not like a rope guy. I have no experience doing that kind of climbing other than, your tree stand harness. So, basically, I actually, through the Iron Council, I met a guy named AJ Hunter who, started his own saddle company called Huntlight, and LYTE. And he is like a mountaineering guide in New Hampshire and Maine. And he has climbing experience. He's also a army veteran as well. So combat vet. So that was cool. And so he designed his own saddle setup. It's called the Outsider. It's pretty legit. And it's only 17.5 ounces, even with the dump bag. It's very light, very versatile. He has 2 hip replacements from being I think he was hit by an IED, if I'm correct. So he has 2 titanium hips. He has a jacked up back. So as you can imagine, he's in a tree saddle stand. He's getting uncomfortable. And so he kind of built this system to suit him. But in the same sense, it's a really nice setup. I mean, I don't have much experience in anything else other than that. So I don't have too much to, compare it to, but that's the setup I went with. I ended up going with a Pursuit platform, which I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that or not. It's
Pursuit. What company is that?
It's by Pursuit.
Oh,
Pursuit platform.
no, I haven't
Yeah.
heard of that. No.
Yep. So
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a poly composite thing, and it's almost like a basket like this. It's not flat. It's almost like this, and it's very compact. It's not much wider than this, and it's angled, and it flexes.
I've seen him like that from Out on a Limb. I think has stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's somehow tied in with him, and it's extremely lightweight. I think it's 21 ounces. And, so I got up in that the first few times and realized, like, it's nice. It's just a little small. And I didn't put a whole lot of hours in, I think, just because of that. And it wasn't until later in the season where I got a little bigger platform. I just ended up getting a Hawk just to kind of see what like a quote unquote normal size, saddle platform would be like. And I was like, oh, dang. Okay. This is something I'm a little more comfortable with, and I could deal with the added weight to gain that much space, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So from my end, I can relate to your buddy because from the military, my back is jacked up. I just got 2 shots into my spine, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So I can relate. And, I was looking for something lighter, Well, I was using a climber for years from the day I started hunting when I got out of the military, I was using a climber. So we've always been mobile in that regard, you know. And I had a couple hang-on stands that were pretty decent, but I don't think I ever got anything out of those. Yeah, I never got anything out of those lock-on stands. But I I was really I do have a lot of experience with climbing and ropes and stuff from the military. So I had that similar experience to him in that I was comfortable with it. I just considered a saddle a fancy Swiss seat that you use for climbing and stuff. So where you can actually sit back and it be comfortable versus having your legs pinched. Uh, but so I jumped into last season. I hunted the Predator platform from Tethered, and I hunted the Phantom saddle, and I came away feeling like the Phantom was kind of an entry level saddle. I it was either shifting up on me or shifting down. I'd raise and lower my tether. I'm constantly getting uncomfortable. And I said, they're comfort channels. They don't work for me anyway, for me.
Yeah.
So I would look for something different. So this season, and I've only been in it like 3 times on a tree now. I got the Cruzr XC, which if you look at Tethered's lock-on saddle now, it has the expansion chamber in it. It's just like the Cruzr XC, but the Cruzr XC is kind of cheaper, a lot
Gotcha.
cheaper actually.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to switch out the platform too, because I'm a leaner. I lean, and it was constantly, you know, wearing my feet out after a while because I was leaning on the Predator platform, and I got the Cruzr Mini Seeker, which has a cant to it, so you could, you know, lean and have your feet flat and not wear your feet out. So that's what I kind of ran. But are you running the same? You got the Skeletor sticks, right?
Yes, yes. Actually, I wanted to say I eventually got the Cruzr Seeker because of you. You had told me about the Seeker because that was the one thing about the Pursuit platform that I liked. I did like that can. I liked that angled front, but I needed a little bit more beef, you know, if I wanted to move around more, have a little bit more confidence in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up getting the full size Seeker at the Pennsylvania Outdoor Show there. So I haven't used that yet. I'm excited to get up in it. I think this year I'm going to hit saddle hunting pretty hard because of, you know, I'm just a little bit more confident in my setup. As far as the sticks goes, you know, I started with the double step sticks from Wolf Custom. That's what I had for my Helio, my Novix Helio setup with an 8er on the bottom. I think they're the 17 inchers with an 8er. So it's a 2-step, but with the 8er, it adds that third. But I just didn't like their packability. And I forget if it was you. It might have been you who told me, or if it was Dan that told me about the Skeletors, or maybe it was my other buddy, Joe Post, because he's a Tethered guy. But I ended up getting the Tethered Skeletors on Black Friday, and man, just the lock-in, the packability, they're quiet. I just fell in love with them. They're the perfect stick for me because I would say out of all the things involving mobile hunting, no matter what it is, the sticks are them things that always just gave me trouble. Just could never get them to sit right, to pack right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Having it
love
packed
the
perfectly
Skeletors.
was one of my goals. I really strive to have the perfect pack out. I got the Trophy Line K's 2.0 pack, and for saddle hunters, you can slide your platform in, your sticks go on 2 on each side, strap them down. The Skeletors are probably the only thing that I said that I am 100% happy with. I wasn't looking to change them. I tried Novix's 32-inch sticks with the single step, and I'm not too thrilled with that.
Yeah.
And I have the Halo too. So I'm still keeping that setup because I want to have the option, like I told Dan, if it rains, I don't want to get my ropes soaked. You know, if I'm on a multi-day hunt, I don't want to have to be waiting for my ropes to dry out or wear my ropes out from being wet all the time. That's not good to store them in your pouches and stuff wet. You know, you need to lay them out and dry them out. So,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm running two things. But the Skeletor 6, after running them all last month, even in my shortened season last year from my wife breaking her leg, I love them. And I actually take one out with me with a 2-step 8er on it from custom gear modifications and to hang my trail cams because I elevate
Yeah.
my trail cameras.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
I do
you
the
guys-
same on
You guys are like speaking a different language right now. Me being a ground hunter, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, no clue what the hell you guys are talking about, but it's
Yeah.
good because it's I mean, I'll never do it because I'm afraid
Yeah,
of
but
it.
with my
Uh,
back, you would think that would hurt me, but even because of all the shots and stuff I get, it helps. But walking in and walking out, having that pack on versus all the extra weight of the other stands and stuff, it was just been so much better for my back, and I've been able to really put you know, walk a lot of miles and not have issues. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, there's, all the options out there. It's crazy. You could drive yourself nuts, but it's good to, I'm definitely a gear whore. Don't get me wrong. Like
I'm becoming
man,
one. You should see
I,
my
I, I
base.
don't, I don't know how many tree stands I got and how many different backpacks. You should see my Sitka setup. It's ridiculous. But you got to find what works for you. You got to find what works for you because at the end of the day, you got to be comfortable and confident in your gear, and you want to have a good time doing what you're
Yeah.
doing because it's hard enough doing what we do out there, and especially when you're dedicating I looking back at my hunting journal. I mean, I'm putting in like 30 plus days, 30 plus hunts in archery season. Like I'm not going out 3 or 4 times a season.
Yeah.
Like I need good gear. I want to be comfortable. I want to enjoy myself as much as I can. I want to give myself that advantage as much as I can because, not only for my own personal reasons, but, I want to be in a good mind frame when I'm taking that shot, ultimately. So,
Yeah.
So speaking of those 30 hunts, so me and Mike were talking, and you've come up to our camp already. I've been out hunting with you this year in Spring Gobbler. You had said something about having us come out and hunt with you. So
Yeah.
I think we need to pick a week. It doesn't matter when. I prefer not early season because of the bugs and whatever, you know what I mean? But,
yeah.
pick a week where we'll go up Wednesday night, hunt Thursday morning, Thursday evening, do a Friday morning hunt, and then in the afternoon, drive over to our camp and finish out the weekend at our place. And, it's up to you, but I would love to have that be a tradition.
Yeah.
I mean, you're one of my closest buddies, and any
Well-
time that I get to spend some quality time with you, it's a blessing, man. And I'm extremely
Oh.
grateful to have you be a friend.
Hey.
So
Hey, right back at you guys, man. This is a tradition I think we need to start, the Musser Zemer deer tour. We'll have our own deer tour.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love it. Like I said, we can hit my camp, if camp, like we have options around my camp. We have the state park, we have state game lands, and, we're set up more mobile. We could do what we need to do. And
well, you got a lot of territory out there.
Yeah, that CWD really scared people off of the doe tags. I was looking down there, and it was like when they went round 2, there was like 50,000 tags left for that
It's
area.
insane. It's crazy. And you know what that's going to do to the deer population out there? Meaning,
gonna blow up.
Scene, I don't think it's not like wreaking havoc on the population and that just the less hunters. I mean, it makes it difficult for pressure, but for public, that's not a bad thing. And there's just got to be more deer to shoot. You got to fill that freezer. It's a great place to get a doe tag and try to,
So
get
out
that
there
freezer
with
point in.
so
Third round, I'm going to get a doe tag for down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
I almost wait till the last round because I know they're going to be there.
So what's your camp rule? Do we shoot a deer? Are we allowed to skin them out right there, quarter them up, or do we got to take them to the butcher shop and get them tested?
So traditionally, this is how it works. It really, since my cabin is off grid, no refrigerators, no running water.
Right.
It makes it difficult when you get like that 60, 50, 70 degree day because as you know, time is of the essence. Now, I know you guys know how to break down a deer and get that thing in a cooler damn quick.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be a matter of what's our plans for the next day. You know, if we're driving to Juniata the next day, then we're probably going to want to just take that thing to the butcher, take a drive.
Yeah.
But so that's the only limiting factor. And unfortunately, that's often how it goes for me because it's always like a dang warm day when I'm getting it done. And it's just, it's work, you know how it goes.
And it's not a big deal because I mean, oh no, I have to drive back out there to get my deer. You know what I mean? Like
that's what
who cares? It's
That's one of my favorite things. That's one of my favorite things
yeah.
to go out there and was, track them down and get them and
Yeah.
drag them back with the crew. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
that's a joke I always had running is, darn, I got to go out next week. I have to. I have no choice. I got to hunt again and then go get my meat.
I think in the month of
I'll tell
November,
my wife that.
I think in the month of November or late October, early November, let's call that a month. I think I might work like 6 days. All the rest is like, I think it's like 4 or 5 days. All the rest is archery hunting. And you kind of schooled me on this. You're like, dude, you're like, donkey, you're burning yourself out in the early season. Why don't you wait for rut to use all your vacation? And I was like, yeah. You know what? As the seasons were going on, by the end of the season, I was smoked because I was going so hard in the beginning. And I learned a lesson there. And I actually learned something from you. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. It's rutcation from here on out. I don't care about that early season, sitting there with the bugs eating you with a thermocell and this and that. Rutcation,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's like I'm a big, obviously the vast majority of what I do is private hunting. So, I follow the likes of like the Jeff Sturgis from, Whitetail. What is it? Whitetail. Shoot, I'm going to jack this one up. Pursuits or Whitetail.
Whitetail. God damn it.
Yeah. Jeff
I
Sturgis.
watched some of his videos too. And he was actually in one of the challenges with the hunting public there.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, I love his saying is, hunt from the couch. His thing is even against rutcation is, look, you don't want to go out on that super windy day and spook out that monster buck. He's like, don't even risk it. Pick the perfect ideal situation, the perfect ideal day to go in and do what you got to do. It's a different world when it's private and you probably got eyes everywhere potentially with cell phone cameras. Yeah, might have patterned them by then. Where you guys hunt, I mean, I could see, where I might be seeing more deer than you guys because it's just a smaller area and I'm familiar with it. But, you guys are, like you said, you're hunting a needle in a haystack. And man, if you're going in
there's so much territory for them to go to.
You know what, though?
It's a mental beatdown too when you're not seeing shit, and
I think this year might be weird too because the early drop on acorns, and stuff.
Thing
it's
is,
gonna be interesting.
You can't be scared of that challenge though. Like where we hunt, literally needle in a haystack. It is a challenge. And I'm telling you right now, Andy, you come up there and you kill a deer, the reward, what it does for your psyche is it's amazing because I spent a lot of years hunting on our family farm that we can't hunt anymore, but it was like shooting fish in a barrel. I know I said this before, but I know what easy hunting looks like. So now that we're forced with this challenge, the reward is it's unbelievable. Like what it does for your confidence too. It's amazing.
Yeah. Dan will tell you, I'm so anal about it that I don't even want to hunt near the fields. I won't go over there near the fields, even though I know that it's probably wise to do so.
Yeah.
Because of that's a great way to identify what their pattern is, food, right? So
but it's a great way to run into other hunters too.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of hunters that hunt that area because of that, and I love the challenge. I love and I've had the frustration. I think last season is probably the most frustrating season I've had yet. Trying to force things.
Last year, my 8-point was damn near 2 mile drag to get it back. It was 1.8 miles. It's you're going in and you're dedicating yourself. Now, you sit there all day and the easy part is shooting. After that is where the work begins. And, they have pictures of me when we got back and I'm sitting there with my buck, hands on the antlers and my face is so blowed out. Like the work that I just put in to get that deer. But you know what? That reward was just beautiful, man.
Absolutely.
Heck
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And then to find a big buck, in those mountains, you don't see 4 and 5 year old deer very often. And when you do, and you get them, that's an accomplishment. I think that.
Oh, heck yeah.
Your buck was probably like a 4-year-old deer, Dan.
Yeah. He was decent, a nice young buck. Actually, it's what we had for dinner tonight. Beautiful back straps on the grill. Yeah, man. Nice. Wife was smiling ear to ear. She loves it.
I had some venison tacos myself tonight. So
Nice, nice. Mike had tater
what-
tots.
he did.
And chicken tenders.
Oh.
And chicken
I
tenders.
think he had a sippy cup of chocolate milk too.
Oh, look, he's looking away like, are you ashamed?
Just
of
wait till
yourself?
after the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
We'll have a great time hunting.
Yeah.
I say that because I'm a lot of miles away from Mike too.
Yeah.
It's safe over here.
Yeah.
That's funny. So what's a good Dan and Andy hunting story? Is it, I mean, I know the one with the coyote we talked about last week,
Oh boy.
or the week before. Was that whatever week that was? You
Yeah.
told the coyote story. What's
That-
another
that
good?
was-
So-
that was a good one.
The one I remember, it actually turned out the end result ended up in one of the best pictures me and you ever took with each other at the lake, you know.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so we're up at camp. Everybody
did
leaked
the drone.
Yeah, I think it was that weekend that he took
Yeah, I
nice
think
the
it
beauty of
was,
the
yeah.
drone pictures. Well, I think it was just me and him left at camp. Me and Andy are left at camp. Everybody else left. And I'm like, yeah, let's go down here, go hunting. We had two-way radios and, we're communicating back and forth. And he's like, hey, man. I'm like, yeah, what's up, Andy? He's like, hey, I think we need to just pack it up. I think we're done for the night. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, man, I had to get down out of my tree to get something. Then I climbed back up. Then I had to take crap. So I had to get back down again. He goes, I think I just stunk it up down here. So I think we're done. I said, Roger that. I'll meet you on the other
That'll
side.
do
Of
it.
I'll meet you on the other side of the water, brother. So we met up, took some beautiful pictures of a sunset and took the, the sights in. And man, that's the kind of stuff. It's not always about success. You know what I mean? It's about those moments right there. Like, just like I told last podcast about, me and you, spring gobbler hunting and you shooting at the coyote and me looking over and your eyes looking at you, like your reaction to that, like we already have some good memories. And that's why I'm saying, man, we got to do a tradition and we got to hunt together more because we have a lot of, a lot of fun doing it. And that's what it's all about, really.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, we love having people up there and that different people going out and experiencing the stuff together is great.
And that's the other end of it too, because I grew up going to a big camp in Perry County. I was very young, 12, 13, whatever, cabin filled, smoke filled, you know what I mean? Beers being cracked, you know how it is. 15 plus guys, which is like, holy crap when you're that age. And then as I got older, I experienced, a hunting camp in Potter County with my buddy Ian.
Beautiful territory.
A Libhart and Slode camp up near Cross Fork, PA, which was an awesome scene too. And then, we got our cabin and for the most part, it was just me and my dad. Yeah. And for years, it was just me and my dad. And occasionally we'd have somebody come up every now and then and hunt with us, but really missed out on that Pennsylvania tradition, of a big camp. And, to be able to go out to your guys' camp a couple of years ago. And it was only maybe 5. Well, no, we had a decent crew up there. Yeah. And it was just, it kind of, it brought back some of those good feelings. And
you came up for the coyote hunt too, right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I forgot about that.
We got another coyote experience, but
did we actually go out hunting for coyotes there?
Dude, I got shooting. We got out to the gas line. He put his electronic call out there on the other side of the gas line, and we strung out, me, him, and Jevin. And no sooner he starts calling, I'm like, hey boys, on the radio. I'm like, did you hear that? They're answering. They're coming in. So I told Andy, I was like, dude, hit it again. Do the distressed rabbit. Like call them in. And next thing you know, all I could hear was them coming through the leaves. And it was 3 coyotes. I picked the biggest one and I shot at it. Well, the problem was total Zemer moment. I went and sighted my rifle in and I had my scope turned all the way to power 9 and I never turned it back. So when I pulled up to get it in, in my vision, all I saw was gray. And by the time I shot, all I saw was dust fly. So I didn't have the right setting on the scope to totally screwed that up. But then them coyotes, they ran down behind him and Jevin yet, it was wild. And we go back and get to the truck and we head back and we get to the power line. There's Dad and Uncle Bill and Mark. They're setting up a little blind to do, to start their coyote for, setup for the evening. And we're like, dude, we just got shooting. They didn't believe us. And we're like, oh, yeah, man, we just got shooting. We didn't get one, but we got shooting. And I was using, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was using a 7mm mag. So that thing, when that thing went off, it was, let's just say there was no animal within a mile because that thing was like a cannon going off, you know? Oh man.
And it's similar to our turkey hunting experience because we're completely caught off guard again because it was literally the first, we got up there in the afternoon. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. Like who would have thought? I mean, we literally set up, turned the freaking thing off. The first time I've ever even used that call.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear you on the radio, like, I think I heard something. And then a second time, then I heard them.
And then Jevin chimed in. He's like, yeah, I hear him. I hear him.
Yeah. And then you shot, missed. And then, it's like we went turkey hunting.
They were coming in.
They weren't even fake. So Dan, here we are. We're 0-2 now. So we got some redemption here.
Yeah, you gotta get some. So you know what? I forgot to ask you. Last season, good, bad, mediocre. How was it?
I tell you what, last season was okay. So it was the first year, and I think about, was it 4 or 5 years where I didn't kill a deer with a bow. And the main reason was because I was being literally tortured by 2 really nice 8-pointers right here in Columbia in this little 12-acre meadow. And I shit you not, I seen big racker, 80 yards one evening, 110 the next, getting winded by a damn doe the one morning, Saturday morning, and taking that buck off. John Gamby shoots the 1 8-point day later. And then, my cell phone camera's going off. Man, it was just a game of cat and mouse last season. And it was awesome to witness down here. And then up at camp, I ended up, because of the hot buck action, I passed on multiple shots on smaller bucks. And though, of course, and then up at camp, I had some interesting encounters as well. Not as good hunting up there, but I had a nice 8-point come in. And for the first time, I grunted him off a too young doe, and he ended up coming around, and for some reason he took the long way. He didn't jump over these logs, and he just got to 45, and I was up in a big old ladder stand with a long shot, and man, didn't I just have one of them just slivers of a limb, like right in my arc, like right about 10 yards in front of him, and I'm just like, damn it. And it was just one of them moments where I was like, 45 is a little too long for PA woods, and this would be very risky. But it was very cool. I rattled in a buck last year. That was a first. And
in Pennsylvania, that's something.
Yeah. It was a young guy. He bit, and he came in hot, which was just an awesome experience. So I had an awesome experience watching it. Pure torture from a hunter standpoint, not being able to. But I tell you what, last year was the first year I told myself I'm going to get aggressive. That was part of the reason why getting the saddle was so I can have more options.
Yeah, I am totally in the mindset to be aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I put away those thoughts of well, you'll spook them away, you'll do this, you'll do that. I really, really, really focused on wind. I did do that, and I also got and wind shifts, and you know how that goes. And I got busted once or twice, and unfortunately that's just the way it all came out. But it was an awesome learning experience, and it just made me that much more motivated for this year. So.
Hey, good on you for doing the ethical thing and not taking that shot, because some guys would just do it, and then you're out there wounding one of these beautiful animals, and it's like, come on, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
When you grunt them in like that too, it's like, oh, it's working like it's supposed to. Everything's falling in place. Just come 10 more yards this way. And, I've had, and that's bow hunting, I've had so many experiences. I've had, that was a decent deer. That was a nice 8-point, nothing to shake a stick at, whatever. But I've had a big guy go right by me too, in some high winds, and boy, I was kicking myself for that before. But as far as like big deer, I've seen them. Never really got within bow range to them, but boy, is it ever fun watching them go by when you do see them, and then trying to put all the pieces together and just come up with a plan. It's such a unique, art form, hobby, whatever you want to call it. And boy, does it ever get addictive when it's hitting, man. So
Dan and I talked about, I can't remember if it's the last episode or the episode before, we talked about not forcing the hunt, like you said, picking the spot, knowing the winds for that spot, and not hunting it just because you're like, oh, that's the hot spot or whatever. Don't
Yeah.
force a hunt. Go somewhere else. Do some additional scouting, you know, and continue to scout until you do still hunting or whatever till you find a spot. Hunt that
Yeah.
hot sign. Get up on a tree, shoot for the ground, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to make sure that I am pushing the envelope, you know, every time I go
Mhm.
out, you know, to maximize my chances, you know, and I'm sure I'm going to fail different times.
Yeah.
You know, it happens, but you know,
Yeah, it's quite the dance, I'll tell you what. You know, you gotta fight so many urges that you have instinctually and naturally, like
Yeah.
to get out there and get after them, and boy, you could really bust a lot and do a lot of wrong. But again, you know,
Yeah.
that's life. You
Yeah.
know, and you got to learn from your
Yeah.
mistakes and formulate a better plan for the next day or the next season, whatever it may be.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, I know you got plans here this evening. I'm running low on battery. I just got an alert. Apparently this wasn't charged as much as I thought it was. But social media wise, is there anything you want to plug yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I just have my personal Instagram account. It's under Personal Prometheus, or you could probably just look up my name, Andy Musser. Probably what you'll find there mostly now is me working out with kettlebells and short shorts, or maybe some videos of my new Bronco that I just got.
that's
So those
very
two
nice.
things are my newest obsession is working. So I go through phases each year of like being obsessed with shit, and right now it's working out in my new Bronco. But I'm telling you, after doing this podcast tonight and going up to my camp this weekend to move some stuff around and do some scouting, this bow hunting obsession is gonna hit me hard. So.
Yeah, it gives you the itch when you
coming.
start talking about it. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, I
Yeah.
think didn't the old man say, was it yesterday, the day before, 53 days till season
Yep.
opener?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Opening
Yeah,
season.
here we go.
So, Mike, you
Cool.
wanna do the preview for the next?
Well, the next episode, we're kind of looking to dig into some of the lessons learned, beginner mistakes that we made and what we did to correct them, and some stories that don't end too well that now, we do things differently that beginners could really get a lot out of. I think that, we'll be, talking bad about ourselves, but at the same time, it's lessons that are important to learn when
Yeah.
it comes to, going out for that first time, or even if it's your second year hunting. I don't think I was not screwing up until, I don't know, like last year maybe. but you're learning lessons every time you go out. So
Yeah,
it's important
that.
to hear about those lessons, whether it comes to setting your bow up or setting your stand up, or like you said about, you get that first deer and it's time to skin it out and you're like, okay, what do I do next?
Even
all
for
those
the
things.
even for the seasoned guy, there's a beginner in all of us at any time. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but-
I still let the old man go cut the butthole out. I don't,
nobody wants
Wow,
that job.
That is a wise. I don't know anybody who likes that.
Well,
He's
on
so
that
comfortable
note, on that note, hey Donkey, I love you, brother, and I'm so grateful for you to come on. Thank you so much.
Hey,
It's been a blast.
Thank you very
talking to-
much, Andy.
and
Thank
we'll be in
Story's
touch.
awesome, and we
Thank-
appreciate it.
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
it was an honor. Honestly, appreciate you too, Donk and Mr. Mike here. I'm looking forward to this Musser Zemer deer tradition here, deer tour. So let's do it. Let's do it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
no doubt, man. And here's
Dan, you want to
here's a
close
little
this out?
Yeah, here's a little call to action, man. Listeners, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review if you can. Send in some questions, and we want to thank you. Thank you very much for listening. We know we all definitely appreciate it, but you guys have a good night, man.